Hello, welcome to When Legends Talk, a book by the legend of Savage Machine, the original Mexican metal band from Northern California. Just a word of caution, this book contains topics and scenarios that may be triggering to some people. Discretion advised. Chapter 15. No te puedo dejar. I can't let you. I bounced around with different friends who were all into different activities, but mostly chemically based. You can read between the lines on this one. I went to purchase some substance and saw someone who looked very familiar. You ever get that? It's like you know that you know this person, but you just can't seem to figure out why or from where. As the conversation went on, I realized this was Mexican kid from my first day of school in America. I hadn't seen him or heard from him in years. We're talking since before high school. I had no idea he was gay, nor did it matter, but it looked like the dealer was his partner and they were doing a terrible job at hiding it. You know what I'm talking about. Every time dude would look at dealer, it was like he was savoring the most delicious meal he ever tasted and would switch to stink face if he thought anyone was looking at him. I didn't want to cause any trouble between them, so I kept that to myself. I started going to them whenever I wanted to get something, and eventually he called me out and said, I know who you are. We caught up a bit and became friends. He would talk to me about his relationship problems, and I would just listen quietly because I had no relative input to offer, but he seemed to appreciate having someone to listen. He would bawl his eyes out because his family rejected him for being gay. They pretty much told him he might as well have died because they did not recognize him as a member of the family any longer. The dealer was his only friend and family at this point in his life, and that was the saddest thing I ever heard. He would call me all the time and talk my ear off until one day I went to a different dealer and bought something that was not what I intended to buy. It fucked me up real good. It fucked me up enough that I passed out for 3 days straight. I had some crazy dreams though. When I was a kid in Mexico, I used to love the buses, like the Greyhound type buses, because of the sound they made. Mostly the sound they made when they were braking. I dreamt I was on one of those buses, but then suddenly stopped. I looked around to see if anyone knew what was going on, but the bus was empty. I was the only one in the bus. I got up and walked up the aisle to talk to the bus driver, but there was no bus driver either. I froze for a minute, trying to figure out what was going on. After what felt like a lifetime of thoughts racing through my mind of different doomsday scenarios, I exited the bus only to find the bus was in the barren desert. Not even cactuses, lizards, nothing. Just sand, the road, and the bus. I walked around the back of the bus and all the way around the front again when I saw a person swinging an axe at me. What was odd was that I couldn't see a face even though we were at hand to hand combat proximity. I caught the axe handle on the swing and threw an elbow to the face. Because of that, I was able to take the axe away and swing with full might, which ended up with me driving the axe through the person's head, impaling it to the front of the bus. Once that happened, the face became clear. It was me. I stepped back in terror and turned around to run away, but realized that I was on a ledge, like I was about to fall into a pit that could not see the bottom of. I closed my eyes and felt myself falling like a weightlessness that seemed to consume me, so I opened my eyes. When I opened my eyes, I saw a man in the distance, but it was like I was watching from above. The man was wearing a bright green suit, almost neon, and every time he took a step, the ground beneath him would disappear. He put his hand out to me, and I reached out to grab it, but the closer I got, the further he was. He called out to me, telling me to jump, but I refused. Every time I refused, he got closer. As he got closer, his clothes would change. He got close enough for me to realize it was my dad, and I broke down. I woke up crying, but no tears would come out. My face was as dry as the desert I had just envisioned. My head was throbbing profusely, my entire body shook, and I had no idea where I was. Once I recovered, I vowed that I would not do that again. Easier said than done. All it took was that one time for me to go through withdrawals. I felt like I was going to die if I didn't get back on that trip. Like it can continuously called me out to wherever I was. Lesson learned. I often have nightmares now and I can't remember them when I wake up, but I have very similar feelings to when this happened and I wake up with shakes or out of breath. But on the other hand, I have different fingers, so, there's that. This is a song speaking to what felt like the addiction and moving past it.
Sigues controlando la baraja, si me tienes de la mano y no me quieres soltar. Sigues enterrando la navaja, pero mi corazón es fuerte y no se deja matar. Sigues con tu plan y amenazas, sígueme diciendo que me quieres y me quieres matar. Tienes agarrando con tenazas, pero sabes bien que sin eso yo me voy a soltar. No te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar. Estás en el trabajo y en la casa, gritas en mi oído por la noche y no me dejas pensar. Cruzas por mi pecho como lanza, gritándome en la calle y me tratas de matar. Me paro con los ojos muy cerrados, mi cuerpo se me enseña el frío y ya comienza a temblar. Todos tus caprichos son negados, mi mente se libre y ya me va a necesitar. No te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar. Estás en el trabajo y en la casa, gritas en mi oído por la noche y no me dejas pensar. Cruzo por mi pecho como lanza, gritándome en la calle y me tratas de espantar. Me paro con los ojos bien cerrados, mi cuerpo se me enseña el frío y ya comienza a temblar. Todos tus caprichos son negados, mi mente se libre y ya me va a necesitar. No te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar, no te puedo dejar.
Creo que pero yo no quiero montar. Creo que pero yo no quiero coca.